I would like to make this video for parents who are facing the same challenges as we had last year with my son. He had, when he was 8 months old, he had a liver transplant, and so he stayed quite a long time on the intensive care. And that was exactly the moment when he didn't know how to drink yet from, well, sippy cup or cup, nothing. He was just taking a bottle, and I was still breastfeeding before the operation. But because of this prolonged time in the intensive care, he stopped taking bottle and stopped breastfeeding. And so we were facing with the challenge how to get the fluids in him without using a nasal tube. Of course, from the hospital we went home and he had a nasal tube, and this was how we were feeding him in the beginning. But of course we wanted to get the tube out of him as soon as possible and teach him other ways of taking the food, and especially the fluids. He started to eat solid foods little bit before the operation, and with solids we were quite successful. Just those that milk and the water we couldn't get in him. So we used a method that I want to share with you today that worked really well for us, and he got the nasal tube out. He had the transplant operation in November, and in February we were already tube free. From what I hear from other parents, they are using the nasal tube for much longer than we did, and that's why I thought, okay, let me make the video, let me share what we did. Okay, so how we started with this method was that I got the syringe from a lactation specialist. You can see that the end is quite sharp, quite thin, and I paid something like €3 for one. It's a good idea to have number of them, because if you need to refill it number of times, if you have 120 milli of milk or something like that, maybe the best is to have like 3 syringes, put them next to each other filled, and then just change it and give it to the baby. So if your baby has still pacifier, even though he doesn't take the bottle or doesn't feed from the breast, there is still chance that he could take the milk next to the pacifier, because he's still pulling. So this was the advice I got: just put the syringe next to the pacifier and see if he takes the milk. So this is what we did. We just put, without spilling this maybe, we just put the syringe this way, and then I started to squeeze in a little bit of milk, and at some point he started to pull it by himself. As you can see, he's already pulling in by himself, so you don't even have to put much force on the end of the syringe. And this is how he started to drink. And this is how I got pretty much all the milk in him. So after 3 days testing this, we realized that we don't need to feed him through sonda anymore, through the nasal tube, and we pulled it out. And after a little while I got a little bit tired of filling all these syringes, so then I was thinking, what else could we use? So I still had one sonda, spare sonda at home. So what I did was, it was number 8. He already knows what to do. So I just cut off this piece and keep it like this. Then I put it inside. I made it a little bit shorter, and then once he already knows how to pull it by himself, and he is not so ticklish anymore, because in the beginning he was ticklish, but then he realized it's okay. Then he got used to, and so he would already start pulling by himself, as you can see, and he could pretty much finish this bottle in a few minutes. And so this was step 2 after the syringe, and since then we were moving up the sizes of the sonda. So after number 8 we did number 10, and the last time we were in the hospital we were asking if we can get something even bigger. Because the regular straws, I tried also to do the regular straw next to it, but the regular straw is too big, and it's also not as soft as the nasal tube, so I was afraid that it would hurt him. So now what we are using is, let me just put this back in the bottle. Now we're using the big one, it's number 12. And number 12 is slightly different. It has an extra, if you look inside, it has an extra space in there. So this one is a little bit more fiddly cleaning, but how I clean it is when I clean the bottle, I just put warm water in and I keep pulling the water through the tube until I see also the other space that is inside is completely clean from the milk. But he pretty much is so used to by now doing this that he does. Well, now we're using much bigger bottle, of course, because he's drinking more stuff. But he can get it down really easily. He already knows what to do. And pretty much this buys a lot of time for a parent to teach them how to drink from a cup or from a sippy cup, so then you don't need to worry about having a nasal tube and have a limited amount of time to teach them to use other drinking methods. So eventually we will, now he started to experiment drinking from a cup, and we are also trying the regular straw and just a normal glass, but he cannot take all the, now he has 170 milli milk, so this is still the most successful way to get those fluids per day in him, and it's also easy for us. So yeah, so I don't know if all the children could pick up this method, but I think it's fairly easy and hopefully it works for you guys. So I hope this method is handy for you guys, and I'm just hoping that it helps other parents who are struggling with the same issue as me. I know hospitals are full of children who have to undergo all kinds of procedures in this age, which is really tricky, especially with the feeding. And I know this is a common problem. They told us in the hospital this is a common problem with children of this age when they go through operations. So if it's a liver transplant or other operations, I just hope, guys, that it will help you. If you have any questions, perhaps post a comment under this video. I'll try to reply to it. And if this method helped you, let me know. I would be happy to hear any success stories. Thank you.